We've got tonight. Who needs tomorrow?
tomorrow?
Let's make it last. Let's find a way. Turn out the lights. Come take my hand.
My hand now. Think I
We
made
got
out.
tonight, babe. Why don't you stay?
Bob Seger is the goat.
Bob
I think I made out
Seger.
to more boys listening to Bob Seger than any other
Really?
recording
Bob
artist.
Seger was like your sex tape?
Yeah, and it wasn't even like we put it on to make out. It was like it naturally would just kind of come on.
When Bob Seger came on, you just made out with whoever was next to you.
Whoever was there,
same.
whoever was in the room, didn't matter.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was what Bob
Bob
Seger
Seger's
wanted.
my love jam.
Welcome to Your Mom Podcast. Your mom's podcast.
This isn't any podcast. This is your mother's podcast.
My mom's podcast.
Nah, dude, she's your mom.
With Ashley Adamson and Lisa McCaffrey.
Your mom is a podcast.
Shut up, dude.
It's rock and roll.
All right.
Rock and roll, baby. Game on. Let's go. Let's go.
We're back. We are back.
Better than ever. Let's go.
Better than ever.
Eye of the tiger.
Eye on the prize. Lisa McCaffrey, Ashley Adamson. This is your mom. And I am not going to lie. It's a little bit of an emotional day. I couldn't figure out why I was so angry at my kids this morning. And I think it was just that I'm feeling emotional about this being our final podcast of this season. Not final podcast, period. Final podcast of this season.
Of the season. Yes, this season has ended.
Yeah.
It's time for a new season, a new start.
A new fresh start. But we
Fresher,
are going to put a
fresher.
bow on the year that was, Lisa.
100%.
And maybe sing some Bob Seger. Or Billy Joel. But just be careful, because if you're at Lisa's house and it sounds like you've got a lot of people there, you just start making out with whoever's walking by.
Bob Seger's
when
my
Bob
love
Seger
jam.
comes on. Somebody standing right next to you, go ahead and kiss whoever it is.
We've got tonight. Excuse me, I'll be right back. This will just take a minute.
This is our 55th episode. I just looked this up. 55th
Wow.
episode. I know it says 50, but part of that is because we're English majors and not math majors.
We're
And
not
at the
good
very
counting.
beginning, I wasn't necessarily counting them all correctly, and I haven't had time to go back and change them all.
It's
So-
fine, whatever. Just round up or down. I
Right,
don't
yeah,
know. We're good.
whatever. I took
It's
concepts
close
in math
enough.
in college, so
Close enough.
we are English majors to the core. We were in the beginning, and we will be all the way through the end.
Yes.
But it has been, and I think I want to take the time that we have today to sort of just put a bow on what this year has been, and reflect on some of our favorite moments, because there were a lot of them. And it was even fun for me as we were texting back and forth, and I said, let's each pick our top 3 moments. It's really hard to do that, because there were
that's
so many great things that happened.
I started having trouble because
Yeah.
there's so many great moments.
So then you
Yeah.
just stopped and you didn't do the homework assignment?
I just said F it, and I threw my notebook down and I walked away, and I just did my own thing. I just went shopping. A little retail therapy. I can't do this homework assignment. It's too
much.
hard.
It's too much.
Oh,
But yeah, I
Good
think
student.
I think there are some people we need to thank, obviously, and there are some final thoughts that I want to share. And again, to be clear, we started this thing having no idea what the hell we were doing.
Right.
I mean,
We just knew we wanted to celebrate. That moms needed to be celebrated.
Yes.
Okay, so one of my favorite ones, I'm going to jump ahead first.
Go ahead,
Tiny
go.
second. Chris is a soothsayer. Chris is your husband. And I always go back to what he said somewhere in the middle after a couple episodes. He goes, you know what I'm coming to find out, said this to you, is that moms are way too hard on themselves. And he's so spot on with that. I'm like, it got me thinking. I'm like, we overanalyze our parenting. We overanalyze our kids. I think we just overthink and overanalyze. Maybe that's what makes us nurturers and people that care. But at the same time, let's not let it drive us crazy as moms, and just be a mom. Love your kids.
freaking
Like,
amen.
he's so right. Yeah.
I
I'm
know.
like,
Isn't it kind of annoying that we did a year podcast on moms, and it was Chris who had maybe the
totally.
thing that was
A
the
dad
most
has to
poignant.
come through and put us in our place, and he's the voice of reason kind of thing.
Men just showing up.
Seriously, fixing everything. Damn
Yeah,
them.
just fixing things. Just like,
What
hey,
a
if you guys weren't so
jerk.
hard on yourselves, you wouldn't need to start all these podcasts, give all
So
this
selfish.
advice and write all these books.
He's always just thinking about
But
himself.
he was, I think
Yeah.
about that all the time too,
Yeah.
because we are too hard on ourselves. And I think even this podcast and the process of going through it and starting it with you and learning all the things that we learned,
Yeah.
it reminded me of that, right? Because I think
Yeah.
when we launched it, we wanted it to be perfect. And finally, and I think it was Ed who told us, your husband, you guys are paralysis by analysis. Just launch and you'll figure it out as you go, which was
Right.
we needed to hear that.
And we had
because needed
several,
to.
ironically, several men that said that. They're like,
Yes.
just do it. Just
Just
get
do
it
it.
out there.
I
And
know.
so, yeah.
I know.
And what a blessing it's been, huh?
It has been,
You get to
Lisa,
see me every freaking week. Such a
It's-
blessing for you, isn't it?
honestly,
See/hear me.
I
Do you
didn't
know how many
realize,
people
and I've
would
said this
kill
before.
for that, Ashley?
What's that?
Do you know how many people would kill for that?
Yeah, I know. That's what I
Do
said. Well,
you
hey,
know?
everybody
I
that
mean,
wants to be
for
friends with Lisa
real.
McCaffrey, just go start a podcast. That is my advice to you.
So many people that you
There's
hit
one
your
entry
limit, you're
point.
you're like, holy crap, we need to take a month off because I cannot hear that grating voice
No.
in my ear anymore.
I don't want to sound whatever, but how I feel. And I have said it to you directly on this podcast and many times on the phone and through text. But by far the best part of this has been the time I've gotten to spend with you. And that's just,
same.
we joke around about a million things all the time, but like your friendship and your support and getting to know you. I was listening to something the other day and somebody said, science tells us, like research tells us that the number one driver of happiness is meaningful connection with other people.
Totally.
And so if
Ashley,
nothing
and-
else, this podcast has allowed me to connect really meaningfully with you and a lot of other amazing moms.
That's 100% spot on. I know they do the blue zones. You know what those are? The
No.
blue zones in the whole world, like are the ones where people live to 100 at least. And they go in and analyze all the blue zones. I forget. I think there's 7 of them, but don't quote me on that. And they've gone in and the besides, the healthy eating and minimal alcohol, like all blah, blah, blah. But the one factor that all 7 of them carry through is their connection. The older people stay connected and just like you said, have meaningful relationships. And I feel like you and I have done that first and foremost.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh, you said it the other day, we get on the phone and it's like, we just all of a sudden we go in these deep, deep conversations about our life, our growing up and all these things, we're like almost trying to figure out the world from a mom perspective. And it's been so wonderful. And I feel so connected and blessed. And then we parlay it with these other moms too. And oh my gosh, I've learned so much from all of them. And it's been so amazing and so wonderful. And you're doing an awesome job with your kids. And I feel like, honestly, after this, I've learned I wasn't as bad as a mom as I thought I was.
Did you really think you were a bad mom?
I didn't think I was a bad one, but like you wish there was like things I could have, like I wish I'd, been better, spent more time, like sat on the floor and played and maybe not yelled so much, things like that. But I'm like, you know what, in the end, it's okay. Like you had my kids, those beautiful shout outs and stuff. So
I will say if there was any
cool.
question as to whether or not you did a good job, you look at, there are 4 human pieces of evidence walking around who are proof that you were an amazing mom and continue to be an amazing mom, because as we said at the beginning, you kind of think that once they leave the nest, you're sort of done, but you're never,
right.
The worry doesn't stop.
You're not.
It's they're doing their own thing now, and it's a different type of parenting, but you're always a mom. You're always going to be a mom.
You are always a mom. And we've learned that from our moms too,
Oh,
getting to know our
totally.
moms better. And that's been beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That
I've
is the thing
never
to
felt
me.
closer to
And
my
I'm
mom.
going to tell you my top 3 specific moments,
Okay, yeah.
but
We
to
digress,
me,
per usual.
because I did my homework
Shocking,
that I
yeah.
assigned. But no, to me, it's the relationship with you, the relationship with these other women who we've gotten to meet because of this platform. And then probably the thing that I will be the most grateful for my entire life is these conversations, and intentionally having them has gotten me closer to my mom. My mom and I are in a better place than we have ever been. And I know you've kind of alluded to and said the same thing.
Same.
And if literally we were just in a closet talking to each other and no one ever heard a word that we said, if that is the outcome of this podcast, that will have been the best. I mean, that was not something that I thought when we launched was like a goal.
Right.
And it's been an amazing sort of byproduct of it. So
Yeah.
I was literally jotting down, and there were so many things, but I would say top 3 moments. Well,
Okay, go.
Peggy Shanahan and manifesting Christian's trade to the Niners. All right. And it's going to be really awesome when Christian is playing for the Niners because then we can all just hang out together. So.
Yeah. Saturday night dinners. We'll go out.
Oh
San
my
Francisco.
gosh.
I'm going to speak it into existence.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I could be with Lisa that much because I did just take a short trip with her recently. And when I'm in the plane going back home, my face hurts so much from laughing.
Oh,
I feel like
I'm
after
a
every
continual
podcast.
comic.
that was beautiful.
That was one of those things that I was like, and I was listening to some of those clips the other day. And if you haven't listened to that episode, please go back and listen to it. It was so damn funny, especially because I thought that I had ruined the whole episode and that I was going to have to go,
Go back, right.
complete and edit all of
Re-edit
that
it.
stuff out because I'm like, he's either going to still be with the Panthers or he's going to have gotten traded to another team. And I was making all these jokes about how he's going to be in San Francisco and you were being hilarious with Peg. And lo and behold, less than 48 hours later, it came through. So that was
magical. That was cool.
That was so
That was
magical.
really cool. Yeah.
The Super Bowl as a whole, like
100%.
the fact that we got to go to the Super Bowl and they allowed us to go to the Super Bowl and then we had a set. And shout out to Believe and Alex and all those guys who helped us figure it out because we didn't know what the F we were doing.
Nope.
And it was like a magnet. Like Shannon Sharp, maybe my favorite like moment that just sticks out in my mind was Shannon blowing everybody off. He had all of these other interviews.
People out of the way. Wait, I got one more.
Came and sat down. He's like, I've got 5 minutes and it's for Lisa freaking McCaffrey.
We can't have him talking about my Power Ranger buddy.
Heck no. Heck no.
Everybody
Hold
talks
me
about
back. Hold
everybody
me
talks about that picture when we took. I think it was at the second Super Bowl when he was on my lap.
Yep, it's the best.
I
We
think
should joke that you were his
I think
dad.
I think he was like 2 years old.
Yeah.
He
He
might
had that
have-
like blonde
Yeah.
fro. Yep. and he's great.
Yeah, a little mini fro.
We're gonna find it.
We used to joke that you were his dad. That's
Totally. He owes me.
and
Ed
he
blocked
did.
for his ass.
He
Come
did.
on.
That's right.
Shannon.
That's right. He did. He
I
owes you.
loved him. Yes. He was so nice.
That was awesome. Like that again, that whole time together was just, it was a feeling and
Magical
understanding like,
again,
oh, we're doing a real thing. And then I think obviously the most like the emotional apex of the show, whenever we were able to make it happen, was when the kids watching the moms watch the shout outs from their kids every single time, like from, Denise Rapinoe, Jan Kittle, Peggy Shanahan,
Yes.
all of those. And as I said earlier, you watching the 4 sons of yours talk about what you've
On
done
Mother's
for them
Day.
and what you've created for Mother's Day. Watching you watch that was like the biggest gift of all.
Hey, Mom, it's Dylan. The thing I admire most about you is just how caring you are to each and every one of us and how willing you are to help us through any situation we find ourselves in, no matter what is asked of you. And you've given up so much for us in order for us to be happy, successful, and healthy. And I just appreciate you so much. We're all so lucky to have you as our mother. And I love you, and happy Mother's Day.
And so I think that we can't say it enough. You think that you've told your loved ones specifically why you love them and what you appreciate about them. But I guarantee you, if you pull out your phone right now, you could send a text to your mom or your dad or your brother or your spouse or your kid and tell them one thing that you haven't told them that you appreciate about them, because it will mean a lot and they will never forget it. So that to me, those were like, that was really the sweet spot of this show, was being able to see that, because we don't do it. We think we do and we don't.
Right.
Okay. Did you have any more? Did you just stop and after
I
you
just
threw your
remember,
notebook?
pulling back from the very beginning, just loved the inception and how this thing came together. But I just remember meeting you and Annie the very first day at Starbucks.
Yes.
Before we went on our very first show.
I couldn't believe you showed up. I was with
That was-
Annie. So Annie is a dear friend of mine who's a producer and who's great. And she was with us in LA when we met for
amazing,
the first
yeah.
time to go record. And I was with her at Starbucks and I'm like, is she really going to show up? Is Lisa McCaffrey really going to show
And I was
up right
a
now?
little late, which I was sweating. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to leave me. They're not going to want me to do it, because I got a little lost.
You
And
almost
then
got fired your first day.
I almost got
yeah.
fired even before I started. Yep.
From your volunteer
No one
podcast
would
job.
blame you. People would understand. There's so many better moms out there to do this with. But I just remember showing up, and I remember what I was wearing.
I do
everything
too.
about
You
it.
had a great leather jacket
And
on. You
Annie
looked
goes, "Annie
great.
made
And
me
you
feel so good." She's like, "You look like you belong in LA." I'm like, heck yeah, damn straight.
and
All black leather. Yeah.
I remember you had these like adorable gifts for
Oh, yeah.
all of us. Like,
I
these-
forgot about that.
just still, it was you, that was a magical day.
That day was so good.
And shout out to Chris Darnold, who we've thanked before, but she was the very first mom who said yes to us and came and met us and drove up from Orange County.
I mean, and look at this. Sam is now playing with Christian again, so I get to reconnect with Chris, and we've been texting back and forth. I'm so excited. Yeah,
maybe we should have her to launch season 2.
Oh my gosh,
we'll see if we can get her back on.
Chris Darnold 2.0.
Yeah.
Love it.
No, I do, and there's just so many of those memories, and I think the other thing that's cool is that we have sort of an audio video diary of this year of our lives.
Yeah.
I was thinking, one day when we go back and listen to this, there were so many different things that happened along the way and stories and little whatever.
Yeah.
And we have, that's all good. That all is going to live somewhere on the internet.
Somewhere. Exactly.
And so Collins and Cora, I apologize because I don't take for granted that I shared a lot of your stories here without your consent. So that's what you get for being 6 and 4 years old.
Well,
you didn't sign. There were no waivers to sign. I own all of your rights.
Along those lines, I think I should apologize to my perfect baby angels that I love dearly and so much, because I have used them for fodder up, down, left, and right, made endless fun of them, and thank God they all are good sports, because
they are good
now
sports.
They're all still talking to me. Yep. Even though I announced Christian sleeps with a blanket. So anyway, they all still talk to me. So that's good.
You know what? Yeah. If you can talk about your kids for a year on a podcast and that your relationship is still good with them, then that's, I'd say,
all good in the world.
That's a win.
I'm glad I taught them to take a joke. Never take yourself too seriously.
Amen to that.
You have
to that. Yeah. Oh my God. No, it's true. I think I don't take for granted that there were a lot of people, including my own parents, Chris, my kids, that we did. Thank you for allowing us to share some of your stories. I don't take for granted that these conversations impact them, and who knows how they're going to impact my young impressionable children one day. But I will say, I have a dear friend who said to me, Therese, who the other day I was kind of wrestling with a lot of this stuff. I was just kind of talking to her about the podcast and what we were going to do next, and that it was, the irony of having a podcast about being a good parent and the fact that it also takes a lot of my time away from being a parent. So that's not lost on me. And she said, well, here's what I'll say. We all wound our kids in some way. And so why not have the wounds from mom be that she really went for it? And if those are the wounds,
right?
Like, because you saw that your mom went for it and tried to do a thing and tried to make a thing and tried to create meaningful conversations, like,
right.
If we all wound our kids, why not have that be the wound? So I appreciated that.
That's not such a bad wound if you really think about it.
Yeah.
But I have to say, both of us, like, I know when I joke about my kids, and I know, you tell stories, it's out of love. It really is. Like, I promise. Like, yeah, things happen, but they're funny, and I don't know, they're out of love, and we're trying to have other women relate and realize it's okay to mess up or yell if you have to every now and then. But I don't know. It's not, I don't feel like it's like anything we've done has been malicious.
No,
nice.
It's all, and I think you're right. I think you're exactly right. And it's one of those, well, we'll find out, I guess. We'll have a couple of research projects.
Time will tell.
And time will tell.
Put some money aside for therapy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all good, just in case. But yeah.
Remember also the very first virtual episode that we did, because again, a reminder that, like, I really didn't know what the hell I was doing when we launched. And so we've bought these mics and, like, I'm saying, my friend Sam, God bless you, Sam, who went to your house to, like, set it up for you.
The nicest man. I love Sam.
Sam is the best. And we the very first virtual interview that we did, because we're like, well, we can't do all of these in person, clearly, because we don't have that in the budget. And so we set up this virtual one, and Marsha Leaf, Ryan Leaf's mom, was the first virtual one.
Yes.
And you couldn't even log into your computer because you didn't know the password.
I just bought a new computer, forgot what my password was, completely spaced on my
panicked.
I was sweating. Oh my gosh.
I was like, it's so okay. Calm. I know. I'm like, we're going to call, and you called Apple, or I called Apple. I can't remember. Yeah. And they got you back in.
And whoever it was on the other line, so kind and so patient, which is a good lesson. She walked me through. It took like 30 minutes, but we got it up and running. We got that mouse in the basement running on that wheel.
I mean, it was such panic that it was like, I think we're gonna have to cancel the podcast. Like, this is too much.
Oh gosh, I know.
So it is ironic that today, on our almost year anniversary of doing this, that it took us 20 minutes
to get. Yeah, we've been so good We were on a sort of a roll, like no technical difficulties.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, bam, right in the kisser. So,
I know.
And it was your fault, right? It was your fault.
It was my fault. I own all of it. That's what teammates do. I do own all of it.
My mute button wasn't on my computer.
I'm like,
it was your
checking
fault,
my
not
mic.
mine.
I'm replugging everything. I'm restarting my computer. Oh, just turn your audio on your computer. But hey, we're here and it's working and we did it. So I am freaking proud of us, Lisa McCaffrey. We said we were going to do this for a year. We committed to it. And again, this is not goodbye. This is not the end. But for this current structure, this edition of it, we're going to take a couple months off and regroup and relaunch. We've already got some plans in the works for what season 2.0 of Your Mom is going to look like. So
go take all of the stuff you've learned and apply it to your parenting skills because it's summer and kids are out of school. Apply it now.
You've got a lot of practice.
The 2 things you probably learned on this year-long podcast and apply it to summer. So
yeah, because that's when your kids are really going to be annoying. That's the thing. Right. There were so many moments that I like caught myself. I'm like, okay, someone just told me about this moment. Like, okay, take a breath.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like stop doing the dishes and go play with, I think that was Marsha Leaf, or maybe it was, I can't remember. Maybe it was Marilyn Plummer, Jake Plummer's mom, who said the dishes and all of the things on your to-do list can wait. Go play with your kid when they ask you to play. Cause it's a small window when they still want you to play. Right. And there were moments that, and I'm not great at it still because I'm like, well, who the F is going to do the dishes if I'm not?
Chris.
Where
the hell's Chris? He's busy, like, thinking of these like really deep things.
He's downstairs playing Legos, and I'm like,
he's doing it.
No, he actually is amazing at playing with the kids. But I have tried to get better at because I'm like, you're only gonna want to ask me so many times. I went on a field trip with Collins the other day. I think I told you this. Yes. And he wanted to sit next to me on the bus, and I'm like, man, this might be the last field trip I ever go on, partly because don't ever sign up to go on a field trip.
Yeah, don't. I don't know where you didn't get that memo, but
I missed that. I missed that memo on this podcast.
Yeah, don't ever sign up for field trips. The kids usually don't care. They're so excited about the field trip that they don't care that much if your mom's there. If you're there, they'll be excited. But
yeah, he wanted to sit next to me, and I'm like, this is probably the last time he's going to want to. He would rather sit next to me than his friends.
That's cute. You don't need to be there.
Yeah. So I checked that off the list, and now I don't need to.
Did you hear about Ed's field trip? The one time he went, I made him go.
No.
It was in elementary school. He went to the zoo. I think he was with Dylan, and he had a group. Everybody had a little group, and each group he had, I don't know, like 6 kids in his group. And I don't even think he paid attention when the teachers were giving the lecture on what to do. First thing he does, he goes to the snack bar, he got him all high on snow cones, which you weren't allowed to do. No sugar. Yeah, got him. The kids loved him. Running around like banshees, crazy. All the other moms were so mad at him. I think like one of them said, you know what? He shouldn't be a chaperone anymore. It was out of control. He didn't know. He didn't listen because he's, whatever. Gave him on. He got a huge thing of popcorn for himself. Yeah.
I remember something very similar of a dad in the kindergarten class.
All passed out.
Bought cotton candy for everybody. Yeah. The Giants game. And I'm like, you're taking these kids home.
Right.
Like,
and all the other kids in the other group were like mad because they didn't get it.
Yeah.
And all the other chaperones were mad because he gave it to them. So he did not make a lot of friends that trip.
Yeah. No.
His belly was full. That's all he cared about. And the kids were happy. His group was happy.
Beggars can't be choosers. If you're going to go. Yeah. Well, good for you, Ed. That's what I'm going to do. If I go on another field trip, I'm just going to sugar them all up.
Just load them up.
Yeah, no, it's been an awesome ride, and shout out to everyone along the way. I think we need to especially thank, I mentioned Believe, and Alex and Eric and Braun and all those guys have been awesome. We've had a lot of questions and a lot of needs, and they have helped guide us. So thank you guys for being awesome partners. Juan Huerta, I need to shout you out, my man.
Oh yeah. I owe
Talk
him money.
about just a guy who you owe him money. All right, we'll pay that. Yeah.
I just saw that this morning. Sorry, Juan. A little late.
Juan, we'll get that to you. Juan, I would just email Juan at the beginning of the week and be like, here's what we've got. Can you help? Can you this? And
can you make it sound coherent?
He would always come through, and he made our YouTube videos so much better. And he was a dear friend of mine from the Pac-12 network, and it's been awesome to be able to work with him again. So Juan, we love you and thank you.
Thanks, Juan.
And Lily, who helped us out in social media during the month of May, just hilarious and a badass and makes everything better. So if you saw that our social content got better for a few weeks, it was 1000% because of Lily and
not us.
Not us.
Go Lily.
Go
Lily rocks.
Lily, go. And thank you. And I mean, there were so many people who took our phone calls and helped us figure out, I think about Seth, who,
Oh my gosh,
from NBC,
yes.
who just taught, I
From
mean, there
NBC.
were a
I
lot of
love
people
you,
who gave
Seth.
us so much
Love you,
advice along the
Seth.
way. We love you,
There.
Seth.
Thanks, Seth. He's a man.
And Kim Neel, who was going to
Yes.
hop on here. I don't see her, but she has been, again, another dear friend of mine who I used to work with at Pac-12, who
she has championed us in this podcast, and she believes in us. She makes us she makes me feel confident. I love her. So
I agree.
Appreciate her.
I
Yes.
totally agree. And she's got a sales background and has introduced us to so many people and helped us, the Super Bowl sponsorships, and has just been a great champion and friend and thought partner and all of those things. So thank you, Kim, for believing in us like nobody else. And if we mention those sponsorships, we got to thank Flex Power, Heather, Owen, Terrell. You guys are the best.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And can we talk about your Emmy real quick? I forgot, because off the air, Ashley's constantly talking about her Emmy. I don't know if people out there know this, but Ashley has an Emmy.
2.
And
now I have 2.
Do you have 2? I thought you were nominated.
No, we just won. The one that I sent you guys the other day, we won.
Oh, you actually won that?
Yeah.
Holy
and what
crap,
was great
I'm not
about it?
worthy.
What was great about it was that it was Sarah Thompson, who was a guest on our show.
Yes.
Whose son Bryson, and again, that's
a great
she's
episode.
a great episode and an amazing woman.
As parents, we take our kids to the doctor for an ear infection, and they give you amoxicillin and they send you home and it takes the ear infection away. We didn't have the understanding of these neurological disorders and that they are so difficult. And it is like shooting darts at a board. And we were like, this is not, just give us something to make it stop. We just need it to stop. And they couldn't do that. And that was the most frustrating thing to come to terms with. And we're still fighting that. We still wholeheartedly, we have to stay positive in this world that we're in. And we feel like there's something out there. We just haven't found it yet. There's something out there that is going to help him and that is going to allow him to live the life that he wants and deserves. We just have to, as parents, keep fighting to find that.
That was, to me, the best part of that Emmy in particular was it was their story, and I told her that. I said, this is Bryson's Emmy. We were lucky to share the story, but this is totally your guys' story. We just happen to be the ones that put it together. But that's, it's weird. I was looking at some old notes, Lisa, that you bring this up. And it was almost exactly a year ago that I wrote down in this little notebook that I have of just like quotes and ideas that I figured out that I think my life goal, like as simply as I can put it, is that I want to help make people feel understood. And the way that you do that is by making sure that they know that their story matters. And the way you do that is by telling it. So that's what this podcast does. That's the best part of my job at Pac-12 Network. That's when I feel like I'm doing work that matters and that is meaningful to me and fills my cup and hopefully, other people's as well. And that Emmy is an example of why making sure that people do understand that their stories matter, because they really do.
Which
and
Emmy?
telling them makes them understand that in a way.
Which Emmy, the first or the second Emmy?
Both, but
Emmy Ashley. So from now on, it's Emmy Ashley.
Yeah,
right?
two-time
Ashley
award- yeah,
Emmy.
two-time
it can
Emmy.
be interchangeable. But along those lines, Ashley, you like these stories that you just said. That is so, because I wrote down some notes about you, and the first thing I said was your empathy is your superpower, and it's so inspiring. And you have made me more empathetic. And I mean, like for example, if I bitch a lot to you. Sorry.
No, you don't.
Well, some, not a lot, but it's some. Like how about this? Every time I've ever bitched to you about it or complained or had an issue, you take it, you hear me more than anyone. Like immediately upon meeting you, you would hear the issue and you would turn it around and make it okay, turn it into a positive, or else you'd send me a podcast on that exact subject, or you'd send me to somebody that knew how to handle whatever the issue is. And it's literally, I've never met somebody that's cared that much. Like all my friends here are just bitches. They're just a bunch of bitches. They don't care. They don't give a rat's ass. No, they hear me. And they're like, okay, next, give me another drink. I'm kidding completely. I love my friends, but
you have great friends.
You took it to the next level. Like you literally try to help. And that's why you're so good at what you do. You are an amazing reporter, and people sense that. And so when I talk to you, that's probably why I have diarrhea of the mouth. I just explain, open up so much to you, more than anybody like in the world, because I truly feel like you care and you listen, and it's beautiful. And gosh, I appreciate that. And that's a superpower. Having empathy is literally a superpower. And you've made me try to be more like you. And gosh, what a role model you are. And you know what? Your kids are so lucky to have you as their mom. They really are. And one day they'll appreciate it, because I know that they feel your love because you have that superpower. So,
I mean,
congrats.
it took 55
And congrats.
episodes, but you made me cry.
Yeah.
So thank you for all
And
of
congrats
that.
on you. Okay, sorry, I forgot to mention in that paragraph that you have 2 Emmys, because I know we have to keep bringing that up just in case people didn't know. Not
that's in the
one. Did you think
contract.
there was 1 Emmy? Nope.
Mm-mm.
2 Emmys.
Lisa, I love you. Thank you. That means the world to me.
But that's totally
Yeah,
sincere.
thank
And
you.
of course I have to always make a joke because
No, but I do. It means a lot. And that's
It does.
why and thank you. And you do all the same for me. Like I've told you this before. You make me laugh like literally no one I have ever met. Sorry to all of my really funny friends, because I have a lot of funny friends, but I've never laughed more.
I just lost all my friends
there
here.
were
So
so
it looks
many
like we just have each other now.
text
so.
messages that I would be looking at this and I'd be like, like dying. And you give me confidence. You said yes to this idea that I had percolating in my brain for so many years, and you saying yes and showing up and like not saying, hey, I'm done with this. This is exhausting. We're not like enough. Like you committed and you showed up and you were freaking awesome. And we all need people in our lives who do those things. And you are that and have been that for me in spades over the next year. And I know will continue to be for the rest of my life, because whether or not we have this podcast or not, like you're stuck with me officially. I have your number. I know where you live.
You too. Look out, watch your back. You can hide, but I'll find you.
But I just knew from the very first moment that when we met in LA, and then really, truly the first time I came to your house and we recorded those episodes back last July, that we both were, it was just like full, verbal diarrhea of like all of the things. And you ask a lot of questions that I have never been asked before and make me think about a lot of things. And you help me with my kids so much and help me realize like, it's okay. Don't sweat this. Like that isn't important. That's okay. It's fine. And I need that so much. So, whew, man, you got me on that one. Thank you. I appreciate it and I love you. And I'm excited for what's next. I really am. We're going to do, if anybody out there has ideas or wants to partner on some things, we are having a lot of different conversations right now to figure out exactly where this thing is going to go. But it's going to go somewhere. I know that. And
because you have 2 Emmys.
Yeah. I mean, and I need a third, right?
Right.
Because yeah.
It's all about the awards. That's all you care about.
I'm just trying to get
the accolades.
Just trying to get some more accolades.
Enough about me. Let's talk about my accomplishments.
2 Emmys. Yeah.
2.
But I am also, I should say I'm excited for the next year. I know it's a weird time with the Pac-12 right now, and people ask me all the time, like, what the hell's going to happen? I have no idea what's going to happen. And maybe by the time this actually airs.
Can I ask one question about the Pac-12? Because I'm a voyeur and I'm because so I have the National Enquirer on my phone really quick. Sure. They just asked me and I want to get back to him. Kidding. Is CU really going to the Big 12?
Not.
Is that a rumor?
That is a rumor. I think that every single school is exploring every option, and of course they should, and that's what you would do, and you would think you would do. Mm-hmm. I don't think that the Big 12 offers them more than what the Pac-12
they're getting now.
Continue to offer them. I hope. I don't know. I'm saying all of this, so everybody chill out there. You
have no insight.
The only insight that I have is that the fact that the schools are still together right now, I think is a win, considering that there isn't a media rights deal, and that they've survived. It's been almost exactly 1 year. June 30th was when it was announced that USC and UCLA were leaving. Oh, wow. So the fact that it's been a full year and the 10 have stuck together despite the Big 12's best efforts and some other people's best efforts to break it up, like I think that bodes well. Now, until something is signed, we saw what the alliance, like the handshake deal with, the ACC and the Big Ten did previously. So until something is signed, you never know. Okay. I hope with all my heart Colorado stays. I love this league, Lisa. I feel so lucky to have covered it for 11 years. And I feel so grateful that I get to do one more year. And I don't know what's going to come after that. The Pac-12 network isn't going to exist in its current form. I think we all know that. But very rarely in this industry that I work in, do you get to see the finish line? Like, do you get to understand where the finish line is? And we have that. And so this year, it's like senior year of high school or senior year of college. Like,
Right.
soak it up. I'm going to enjoy it. I feel
Good.
I've met like my best friends in the world. It's the reason I know you.
Yeah.
And it's been literally the biggest gift
And the
of my
reason you
life.
have 2 Emmys.
And the reason I wouldn't have 2 Emmys if it wasn't for the Pac-12. So that's why I really
Right.
love this conference.
We have to mention that
I'm excited
3
to
minutes.
enjoy it. I'm excited to enjoy this
Good.
year. And all
And
the
I also
people-
love the Pac-12. I feel indebted to them. They gave me my start, I guess, in life with soccer and a great education. And my son was benefited, and as did my husband. So I love the Pac-12. So hopefully it can stay in some form and eventually turn it around and be a big powerhouse back in
I
the
believe
like it
that
used
they
to be.
can. I believe that they can. And I think college sports right now, and you know this
Yes.
as well
A
as
little crazy.
anybody, it's a wild time. It's just
It's in flux, I would say.
It is in flux. And that we literally don't have enough time to go into all of those dynamics and those
Right.
things, nor does anybody probably want to hear them hashed out.
Wanna-
But
yeah.
I will just say for those, parents who are helping their kids navigate getting to, figuring out where they're going to go to college.
You should call Bijan Robinson's aunt because
Yes.
she knows how to navigate it.
She does. No kidding, Clarissa.
For real. Hire her
She
to help
does.
you
She
navigate it.
does. Amen to that. And we were hoping she was going to pop on, and now officially, hold on, let's see if I can do this. There she is, Kim Neel.
Yay.
In the house. We were just singing your praises.
Oh, my praises?
Your
Yep.
praises, yeah.
This is Kim Neel. She doesn't have an Emmy, but she's a rock star in her own right. Nor 2 Emmys.
Oh my gosh.
Remember?
I may not have an Emmy, but I do have something, and I was trying to figure out how to say it. I'm going to take.
That's what we've been doing for a year, trying to figure out how to say things on this podcast.
Yes,
So however you're going to say
exactly,
it, great,
exactly.
we can
She's
edit it.
basically been trying to figure out how to talk about her Emmy. Emmys. Sorry, two.
So I'm sure you can see this. My son won a tournament, a soccer tournament, and
So basically, we're just going to brag about our
Go
kids
Beckett.
now.
yeah, we're just going to brag about our kids.
Cool.
But
My son lost the Heisman, but that's cool.
you know how they are like so inclusive about everything these days. So like he wasn't even at the tournament. It was the weekend. He had the theater, but like they pass it to each kid. But this is what the moms did before with the trophy. Can you see that?
You're going to have to explain it to
No,
anyone
I
listening
can.
on
Yeah,
audio.
I can see it. 'cause I'm
Okay,
like,
so that's the
nice.
trophy
That's good parenting.
getting
That's-
passed off,
Is that a bottle of wine?
and that's a bottle of wine. And
Did everybody get
It's
to, was
like
it
the
like the
Stanley
Stanley
Cup.
Cup?
going
You guys,
into
like,
the trophy?
so you
Yeah,
guys
love
all
it.
drank wine out of the trophy.
And I'm sure that's super sanitary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just that mom and I.
Is that...
Just the 2 of you. That's it.
I was gonna say,
That's
is that
good.
why
Now
you have
that's
that?
good
Is that
parenting.
like a herpy that I see on you? I wasn't sure what that knew.
That is a full-on face breakout because there is nothing
Wait.
smooth in my life right now.
Okay, time out. So Kim, you have really quick because you have 2 kids. They're awesome, boy and
They're
girl.
Beckett and Riley. They're adorable,
Yeah.
and I
How
love
old?
them. And we have all their hand-me-down clothes.
Riley is 10 and had a meltdown this morning, like insane. And then Becca's 8, and he was calm, cool, collected until he comes home with something today. My mom's here recovering.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep, she
How
just
is your
had-
mom doing? Your mom is...
She is such a trooper. She is doing so much better. She is like on her medicine and has a great attitude and is awesome.
And she has a great
That's
daughter.
a podcast right there,
Yeah.
taking care of aging parents.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
telling you. And especially when you're also a caretaker to your kids. You're a mom. That's a really difficult time for
I just keep
everyone.
apologizing to her. I'm like, was I like this? God, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
Yeah, it makes you appreciate your
Yeah.
mom. Yeah.
and then
You
she
will
goes,
never appreciate your
perfect.
kids.
And I was like, well, we know that's not true.
What did she say? Sorry.
I'm perfect. I was perfect.
Oh, yeah. Well, clearly.
Wow.
Drinking a lot in those days.
Love it. Good. You got through it.
Oh,
Good.
you got through it. You're an amazing daughter. She is lucky to have you. Your Riley and Beckett will, at some point, appreciate and understand what a
But
great
more important, congrats
parent
on
you
winning
are.
the tournament.
And congrats
amazing.
on winning the tournament that your son didn't play in and getting to drink wine out of the cup. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That's doing it right. That is doing it right. I don't know what right looks like, but that's
Yeah.
That's
I
there.
show up and I have a big fucking trophy in my room.
It's the best.
Go.
Okay, well we were just going through and we've already gone longer than the plan was, which is what we do in every episode. So this is a perfect way to close it out. But we were given our top moments. Do you have any, even if like behind the scenes, any favorite memories or moments from the past? Because you've been in it with us.
Oh, how much time do you have?
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is it's just a podcast, so we've got as much time as
we can edit. Yeah. And if you talk about, if you don't mention Ashley's Emmys, we'll edit you out.
We can edit that out. Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm not going to be on this podcast, right?
Oh yeah, you're on the podcast right now.
Yeah. So in the contract you have to mention Ashley's Emmys every 5 minutes in the show. So
did you not think that this was recording? Yeah, this is you're literally on your mom.
Yeah.
Kim Neel, welcome to your mom.
Yeah.
No,
sorry.
You guys suck because can I put any makeup on? Because
no, come on.
You look great.
What mom puts makeup on? I didn't start putting a lot of makeup on till
she's gone.
My kids all left the house. Then I pile it on. Now I'm a cake face, but so I finally was able to look in the mirror. I'm like, whoa, I should have been doing this years ago. Anyway.
So you do have the trophies. Okay, there we go.
Ashley, bring out your Emmys. Ashley.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess
pull those up. Let's go. Yeah. Come on.
Do you want my beauty pageant awards from when I was younger?
Did you do pageants?
Photogenic? Would you like my rap?
Did you do pageants, Kim? Honest.
My mom might have made me do one.
Did you win it?
It was terrifying. It was horrible.
But you did it. I'm impressed you tried. Those are, I mean, we can sit here and kind of laugh at pageants and stuff, but those things are freaking intense.
Dude, that's what I think. I've learned that from when we talked to Olivia Colpo's mom.
Yeah, they're
intense. You can't dismiss what you think about beauty pageants and that, but that is a I mean, that takes a lot.
Good job. Way better, Kim. Yeah. Put that hair down. Yes. Way better. Good job.
The problem is when you're really far away, now we can't hear you as well. So
you need to come look close. And Ashley, can you fix that fucked up eye?
No, I can't. That's how my eye looks. Okay, Kim, any favorite behind the scenes memories or moments? What do you got?
Oh, okay. It actually goes way back to the OG. I don't know, Lisa, if you have heard the story, but I was able to have lunch with Ashley the day before you guys ever met to record this first podcast.
Uh-oh.
She was in LA.
Mm-hmm.
She was super excited and could not believe that this was coming to fruition. And she's like, I don't know what to expect. I think I'm going to love this woman. And I'm basically scared shitless because I don't know how to do this. And you guys, I listened to your I listened to the tease, and then you had Sam Darnold's mom on. And I was like, immediately, I was walking and I was like, they have the most amazing chemistry. And Lisa, I didn't know much about you.
Nice. No one does.
And
now they do.
And now
not a lot to know. I don't have an Emmy.
I mean, well, it's early. But I have been so impressed. You guys have done such a good job complimenting each other, and it's just been a fun experience. And then for you, Lisa, I'm pretty sure it's the earthquake.
Oh no.
And and Julie Foudy, that connection. That one was special because I've known her for a long time, obviously from ESPN. But just understanding you
that Lisa was a virgin in college.
And
oh my God,
you're a virgin in college, and it's totally fine. People in moments of tragedy, they say things.
The earthquake moved the earth so much that I fell into the fence, and I thought I was dizzy from heading the ball. Then I looked up and there are waves. The actual earth was in waves. You could see it moving like that. And Lisa,
you're such a bitch. Can we not have her on, please? Can we?
I'm loving this.
Where's Brandy Chastain? She'd be a way better guest.
Lisa's like, do not let me die a virgin on this field. I am gonna fall into the crack and die.
And then, hey, I've never been in an earthquake. Calm down. I thought the world.
I am dying right now.
Right. I thought I had to like do a confession. Get through the.
Of course, you're like, I want to be on the right side of this thing, right? I want to be on the right side.
I want the side with the food and the harvest.
And the men. So
men,
I don't have to
right.
die a
I
virgin.
like to procreate and eat. That's all my priorities. Back to basics. Back to basics
Right.
there.
And, smack dab in the middle, I would say that I'm also super proud of you guys and what you did at the Super Bowl and how that came together. And that's really, Lisa, how we met. But
Right.
I mean, you took that on, like from what I saw and what I heard, you guys were the place to be at the Super Bowl. And there was as much surrounding you as the players.
Yeah, screw the Kelseys. The Kelsey who? I mean, freaking Mahomes, what?
Like
Jalen Hurts, what? No.
Right? Yeah. And you're like, hey, how can my son he plays football. How can he like get
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the best.
Oh, that was so good. And the type of people that you had on, I think that's where I'm most impressed is the diversity of conversations that you are willing to have, really tough conversations that
and pulling on that they were willing to share too. I mean, my goodness, wow. I'm so appreciative of them telling their stories and opening up, and it helps so many people relate and just know there's other people out there going through things and it's going to be okay ultimately. I love that.
As we were doing our thank yous, I'm really glad that you brought that up, Kim and Lisa, that you underscored it, because I think that's like 1A of people we need to thank. Were the guests who came on and were super vulnerable with us. I mean, there was a lot that was shared that I think it was cathartic. I think it's cathartic for people to talk about it. But until we interviewed our own moms, because everyone kept being like, you guys are getting people to bare their souls. What about you
what
guys?
about you?
But it's, there's a reason why it was that we held on to your mom's interview for 6 months or whatever, however long it was. Cause it was kind of like, okay, where are we going to, what do we want to do with this? Where do we want to go? How much do we want to keep in? How much? And to both you and your mom's credit, we kept in basically everything. And same thing with my mom. Like there was just a lot of vulnerability wrapped up in any time you have these types of conversations. So amen to that. Thank you for saying that, Kim, because that's
you absolutely have encouraged me to ask those questions of my family in those moments, because I completely took for granted the fact that I had my mom and she got sick and she's doing better, but even in that time around Mother's Day, I sat down with her and I asked her a ton of things, and it was just her house, and I was going around the house and say, what does this mean to you? What does that mean to you? I never would have done that. Like I have learned so much from this. And I think that's really important. And laughing hysterically because moms do like to overshare, and I love it.
You know what else? My Dylan the other day, my son, started talking about my mom. And he's asking questions. Oh, it came up that my mom's from Ocala, Florida originally. So it's technically the South. And because he had a Southern drawl pop out, and someone asked him, where'd you get that? And he was saying, and I'm like, no, Dylan, you don't understand. My grandmother had a Southern drawl, and you need to ask. And he's like, oh my gosh, I need to sit down and talk to Big Mama and ask her these questions. I'd like to know these questions, like where she came from. I'm like, Dylan, that's what our whole podcast is about. Go do it right now. Go do it. Ask her these questions. So anyway, so it's trickling down to the next generation.
I love that.
Which is good. So that's a good
thing. I think people need to understand that. Like nothing is guaranteed. Life is a gift, and
right.
Never know what tomorrow is going to bring. So, It
We'll
is.
never regret having these conversations.
Absolutely.
I know that for a fact.
Unless your mom like sits up and like starts throwing things at you and calls you a bitch and don't ever talk to me again, then you might regret it. But short of that, these are great conversations that open things up. And
Well, then you know where you are. Then you know.
then
where
you then you at least have a new data point, so that can be helpful too as you move along through your life.
You guys.
Yeah. Oh, I just love you both so much, and I'm like so grateful for both of you in every single way. And I can go on and on and on, and I won't because I already have. But I just thank you both for like believing in this little idea and making it a thing. Like you guys, it wouldn't have been a thing if it wasn't for both of you and a lot of the other people that we mentioned. But you two have really stayed the course and hung in, and I don't know what's going to be next, but I know it's going to be great. And I think there's going to be something that you guys both just alluded to, which is how can we help people record and ask these questions and get these, be intentional about conversations with people, because it's the thing that I am so lucky that my kids one day when I'm not here are going to be able to come back and listen to this, you know? And be able to hang out with me a little bit.
Cora and Collins, your mom has 2 Emmys.
Don't
just
forget it.
Don't forget 2. Did you think it was 1, Cora?
No matter how bad of a mom I was, no matter how much I yelled this morning, no matter how mad I get that you just can't put your freaking shoes on. How many times do you think in your lifetime did you say, put your shoes on? Like, I think that's the thing. I think those words I've said more than any other sentence.
My children just came out of the womb knowing how to
with
put their
tying
shoes on
their
and
shoes.
tying.
Yeah.
Yes, it was just a miracle. I've never yelled at my children ever.
Yeah.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Lisa, do you want to sing any songs at the end here, or what's your?
Let's see. Well, I always go back to my bestest Taylor, but
yeah,
I don't know. Help! Should we a nursery rhyme for old time's sake?
Kim, do you have any requests?
Kim,
I did start singing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" to Beckett because you reminded me of that on one of the.
And was he into it or not really?
He loved it. It was great.
Oh,
yeah.
I told you I asked my kids if they remember me singing, because I used to sing like for 30 minutes to get their little asses in sleep. I would sing nursery rhymes and none of them remember. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. So it didn't work.
Yeah. Oh,
sometimes it lands and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what? I will say this is the most annoying thing. You can't choose what your kids are going to remember. The stuff that like Collins will reflect back to me, I'm like, how is that what you remember from that moment or that conversation? Or like, how is that the thing that's stuck in your head?
Right.
And these core memories, and you do all these
forget.
things that are like, oh, this is so, but like you don't get to choose what they remember and what they record in those little brains, which is so annoying. Like,
that's true.
Remember the good stuff. Not the yelling.
Right. They will. They'll tune that out. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Just show them your Emmys.
Tune it out. They tune it out. Yes.
All right. Well, we love all of you, our listeners. That's actually probably we should have started with. That's who we should have thanked.
Yeah.
Everybody who has listened to one single second of the show. And if you're still listening to this final goodbye episode, then you are amongst like the very, very elite, dedicated, loyal listeners. And we love you very much. Yeah. But it's been so fun to hear from everybody and to reconnect with people.
Still keep listening though, and go back and listen to past
episodes. Go back and listen to past episodes. The downloads all matter. Yeah.
Wait,
we need more listeners.
One thing to add really quickly. My husband took Beckett to a birthday party on Sunday, and they were writing things down for the magician. I don't know exactly what it was, but a couple of them were whispering. And they handed the guy the paper, and the paper said, "Your mom."
No way.
So we have gotten through. We have now reached the eight-year-old.
8-year-olds are now tuning in. Now we have new generation of fans. So let's keep it clean, ladies.
Well, I will say too, my nephew, shout out to one of my nephews, and I won't name his name because he did not give me permission to tell the story, but there was a kid in the school bullying his sister and saying some really awful, mean things. And he came back with a "your mom" joke that shut him right up.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I don't know that my brother was like all that psyched, but I was like, I think he nailed it. Like, I think a your mom joke is just what you need in that to put that little punk in his place. So
Love it.
You know, I don't know if I'm supposed to encourage that behavior, but sometimes
it's
it
necessary.
works.
Come on.
Sometimes it works.
Oh my gosh.
I love you guys.
On that note,
thanks for listening. Your
off.
mom signing off for season 1. We will be back with season 2. We love you all. Thank you. Thank you for being on this journey with us. And Kim, sorry that we kind of surprised you there.
Yes.
Yeah. But congrats on that soccer win.
Yeah. Is there any wine left? Why don't you chug the rest of that wine in there?
I will be drinking it like the Spanish ones you do later. Like
the long arm?
Yeah.
The long pull?
I love it.
Yeah, long arm.
Like a beer bong.
Yeah.
You should tell Beckett to not play in more soccer tournaments so that you get the opportunity to do.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. I love you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Happy summer.